Welcome to Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. We are back, and I am with co-host Chet over here. What up, Chet?
Hello.
He's so awkward nowadays.
So awkward.
He cut his hair, and he used to be like so cool and into it. Now he cut his hair. He's up back in his like grunge skateboard shit, and he just is like totally emo now, and it just drives me crazy.
Is it too late to smack you? Too early to smack you?
We're all
Can
one
I
a day.
just smack you?
We're on one a day, baby. No, I'm
hey,
kidding.
I'm going to go see our guy Corey tomorrow. By the way.
Oh, I saw him last week.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Shout out to Corey,
Yeah,
Adamo.
yeah.
He's killing it over at Arlette and no, I always get his kids' names wrong. I'm so bad.
Scarlett, Arlo, Scarlett.
Yes. He just got a new shop.
Chopped by
Him
Corey.
Him and his wife, they're down there by they're not even the sponsors, so we're giving them a shout out just because he makes us look good. But they're down there on Route 13, South 13, across from the college, next to Voodoo, next to Pete's Coffee, that brand new twist place. It's a vibe in there, and Corey's doing a great job. So big thank you, shout out to Corey. Make sure you share the damn episode, Corey. Share the episode, buddy. I'm just kidding. I'm on one today, so y'all better get ready. This episode is brought to you by Smoke Art. Dude, Smoke Art is providing you with all of your smoking needs.
They got smoke for your art and art for your smoke.
They really do. You hear Emo Chet trying so hard? He's trying, guys. But yes, they do. They have all that good stuff. I'm trying to rile them up today, folks. They got all your good stuff. They're located
Why does
on...
that?
Let me get the sponsorship done, Chet. You're messing it up. They're located down on South Division Street or Eastern Shore Drive. I never know what that road's called. It always switches into one.
South Division.
South Division, right in front of the Mitchell's Martial Arts. Another shameless plug. I don't care. I live in abundance. But anyway, check out Smoke Art. They've got all your artistic smoking needs and so forth. And if you get value out of this and you know somebody who does, or just like and subscribe to the channels, okay? We need to get more people on there so that we can get this out to more people. All of our content's free.
You can even hate and subscribe.
We get that too.
We don't care.
But yeah, please like, subscribe. We're on all platforms, whatever platform you're on. And the biggest thing would be leave us a review. Let us know what you think about this episode or any other episodes, what we can do better, what you'd like to hear us talk about. And I'd love for you to start flaming Chet. All you do is flame me. You know, I got my damn mole removed because you guys made me feel so self-conscious about my life that I got facial surgery, reconstruction, and now look at me. You know what I mean? I'm hideous. I look like Frankenstein, and you all don't say nothing about Chet.
Nobody's even thanked you for your sacrifice of your flesh. They haven't thanked you yet. Whoever it was like, pop that thing. I did one better. I had it surgically removed.
I ate the mole.
Ugh.
They gave it back to me. I just chewed on it for like it's very chewy, so I just kept
Is
chewing.
that kind of like eating the placenta after the babies?
Oh god,
the placenta stew.
Emo Chet back.
I just want to eat my son's placenta. Oh, yeah.
No thanks.
Oh, I just want to play it. I just want to be left alone, but people look at me.
I don't know if it was like eating placenta, but that just threw up in my mouth.
You're talking about eating moles.
God, I was kidding. You know, there's really like people that still do that.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not knocking it. A little disgusting for my taste, but I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying there's still things that are going on. Anyway, let's stop fucking around. Let's get to business.
Okay. Let's get down to business.
How you been, man?
Good.
Yeah?
Good, yeah.
What's new?
Nothing. And that's okay sometimes.
How is nothing new? I know your schedule.
Every day is new.
Every day is new. So last time we were on, Chet, we were talking about things that were working with the gym and things that really were giving us the ability to succeed. And I kind of bounced around a lot of places in that episode that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted to come back to, you know, some of the meat and potatoes of things. There were some subject matters that I talked about in there that we just didn't have enough time to go over in just that episode.
And that's because that's how some of our conversations go anywhere. We're kind of all over the place. So
yeah,
apologize for that, kind of.
Yeah. If ADHD was a picture or a podcast, it would be Chet and I.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have ADHD.
Is that a bird?
Squirrel.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, there's a lot of times when we kind of bounce around, and that's a good conversation anyway. But I wanted to kick game and give people some knowledge and some tips because, look, I got haters. I got people that don't want me in business. I got people that are upset about business. I think that's what happens in every area of success in your life. When you're doing things that no one else is doing, you're just going to have that. But I don't think in scarcity. I think in abundance. We had a dude come in the gym just this weekend. And P and I were talking, Coach P and I were talking, and he's starting his own Muay Thai thing down in Virginia. And he's visiting up here, saw the gym, was amazed by everything. And he was like, dude, and I didn't think about it. It's not like I'm the guy. There's gyms that do way better than we do. We're doing well for where we're at. But I just went right into let me help you mode and give you tips and trades and all that and things that work and things that don't work and so forth. And you know, he was gracious, man. You know, he shot me a message, said thank you and so forth. And but that's how I think. I think in abundance. I think that if all of us could give everybody the game, that we could get more money, more success, change more lives. We could do all of the things that we want to do.
Well, that's one of the things I've noticed, and this, I mean, so over years and years of either being in advertising and, you know, can have an inside picture of how some businesses work and how they don't work, running some businesses, you know, all of the above. What I found is the people that do have that mindset and that are willing to share their successes and how they do things, they somehow are leading the parade. They're somehow on top. You know, other than maybe some things that are, you know, proprietary that you really do have to keep kind of, you know, to yourself and secret. But and overall, general business practices, you know, how did you do this and down to specific and granular kind of things. So the people that are willing to share that information, now whether it's for free, whether they're doing it on a consultant basis or they're doing, you know, full blown seminars, and getting paid for it, which they should, you know, you're paid for that experience and that knowledge. They tend to be the ones that are coming out ahead.
No, 100%. Sorry, I'm texting them to turn the music down. So I can't stop you. I listen to everything. No, I think that's a great segue that you just came into because that's a big kicker for a lot of people that are successful. Share the wealth, share the knowledge, right? There is so many. Look, we're in a town, for those that don't know, we're in a town I've explained this to you before. If you think of Maryland and you think of, you know, when people talk to Maryland, slow down. When I talk to people about Maryland, they always think that aren't from here. They always think like Baltimore and Annapolis and the DC region and area, right? And there's a body of water that separates that side with the Eastern Shore, where we're located at. We're located right smack dab in the middle of the Eastern Shore, okay? We're right on the Maryland and Delaware line, okay? So we're more beach people than we are city people. We also have the, I guess, luxury and unfortunate side that we're not a very big area, right? We're kind of spread out, very rural area. So our city, I think, is roughly 35,000 people, 32,000, 42,000, something in that ballpark. The county, Wycomico County, I think is in the ballpark of about 200,000. Also, we have a lot of people that migrate into the city for the college, for the hospital.
But the geography itself is interesting too, because you think we encompass like half of Maryland, all of Delaware, and then a tiny little part of Virginia. But it's kind of its own thing, even though there's state lines and separate states. It's kind of its own market, its own little island.
100%. And so it makes us unique. But also it's very small. Like you should know where everything is on the Eastern Shore, pretty much everything. There's still people in our city that don't know about Pure Fitness, let alone SBY MMA and fitness, right? They don't know where it is. You know, my sales guy constantly calls people and talks to them. He's like, oh, I didn't know about that. Where is that? I remember Powerhouse and stuff like that.
So what this building used to be, what's really funny is people will go back and they'll say, oh, and you try to narrow it down for them, and they'll go to something that was here 30 years ago and go, oh, is it that place? Like, yeah, that's the building.
Oh, correct. Yeah. So, and again, sorry, I was texting about the music. So again, my point is there's so much that we can deliver on a bigger scale with a abundance mindset, instead of trying to have this, you know, hold all the stuff to myself. I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want anybody to know. I want everybody to know. Look, I'm happy with my competitors having a level of success, right, that helps the culture. Right. In other words, first of all, I don't wish any ill on anybody, right? I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to like you. I don't wish any ill on anybody. But people see competition as a threat and as a bad thing. 48 Laws of Power, right back here, written by Robert Greene, talks about a good competitor, a good adversary will rise your level of skill, drive, hunger, and all the above, right? Competition is good because it rises the level of quality, service, everything. You know what I mean? It brings the levels up so that now
and you're acting or reacting. So either way, it's
correct.
It's gonna weed out some bad stuff, but overall, it should help a whole, an industry as a whole. So it doesn't matter if it's a restaurant industry, if it's the gym business, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like if you've got a shitty gym and you're not giving a good product, and the ladies are complaining about feeling uncomfortable, and the guys are complaining about time frames and all that, then when you have competition, they're gonna expose you for your weaknesses. They're gonna make you level up, right? And we see in the combat sports world, people are so quote unquote loyal or so like attached to their gym because it's what they're comfortable and used to, that they're so scared to leave and move and stuff like that, right? So at the end of the day, competition is a good thing because, back to my point, it's giving awareness to the masses.
Right.
If more people know about combat sports, because this gym over here and that gym over here and this gym, and they're all marketing and they're all talking and they're all getting the referrals and they're all getting people talking about it, that's going to introduce more children, more adults, more people. And if you think about it, not everybody punches each other in the face. It's not a normal thing. The majority of the people in the world, or in the country, excuse me, I can speak for that, have never punched anybody in the face or been punched in the face. It's just not a thing. Now, a lot of people in the space are like, no, that's because all of your friends punch each other in the face. Right. The people you're surrounded by. Criminals will be like, or people in jail will be like, no, we fight all the time, because they're around your area. But the world doesn't normally punch each other in the face, right? Or break each other's arms and all that good stuff that we do. So, telling more people about it, having the competition aspect, having the ability to be sharing that knowledge with other gym owners and other people is always a positive. You know what I mean? It's always a plus. I'll go on record right now. I've offered the gyms in our area to help them in more ways than one. I've offered to help them with marketing. I've also tried to get people fights that we could highlight them in their gym. I've sat here and tried to give all the game that I can give away, without obviously, being a part of their gym. And I've been turned down every time. I've been dismissed and turned down. But then, you look at my success and look at what we're doing here, and I'm not trying to brag. I'm just telling you what's the truth. We're making huge strides. We're making huge strides when it comes to introducing combat sports to people, get new people, and retaining our people.
Yeah.
Retaining the people that are here, not having a bunch of people that are quitting. So,
Which is another, with this industry too, that's a difficult in this area. Think about how many colleges we have and things like that. So that's, it's all part of it, but you figure out how to deal with that. And
I just put a video out on something else is the sign up process, right? For gym owners, the sign up process. Like how many combat sports gyms have you been to? I know I visit quite a few when I travel, that you walk in there and you have one or two different types of experiences, right? You have the one experience from, either the front desk, somebody that's taking class, or the owner themselves. And it's almost like they don't even want you there. You're bothering them, right?
I would say it's almost like they're trying to get you to leave quicker than they want you to come in.
Well, they're so standoffish because of how, I think sometimes how the culture has really been, where they're like, who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you here? I'm here for a trial class. I'm here to sign up. You know what I mean? And it's like so like off-putting. I've had so many people come into me and say, dude, this is such a welcoming environment. Right? Like everybody's open doors. Everybody's trying to help you. Nobody's kind of looking at you and sizing you up and things like that. Like, we're going to get our chance to roll, buddy. Don't worry. We're going to get our chance to spar. But they're like,
but you see it on their faces when they hit that gate sometimes too. It's
gosh.
I don't want to say terrified, but they certainly have a look of concern a lot of times.
Whether
it's adults or kids, or the adults for the kids. The kids are smiling ear to ear and the parents are looking around like, oh, this is serious.
Rightfully so.
So,
obviously it's a combat sports gym. You don't know what to expect.
Right.
And you'll have like these gym owners, or you'll have the culture, the people, just like, or the instructors, not even the owners. You have a good owner that's busting their ass to bring people in the door, but then they get to the instructor, and the instructor, has their favorites, has their little cliques, does not even pay 2 cents to them, no any kind of welcoming. You know what I mean?
Or just kind of goes through the motions to show up a minute before,
yeah.
start the class, end the class, no discussion. Like, thanks for coming. See you next time.
Yeah, correct. You know what I mean? As if you should worship me because I know jujitsu, right? Like, oh, and I'm going to go on a side tangent. That is like one of the biggest things I can't stand about the culture. It's like this idol worship thing where, you know what I mean? Because I know jujitsu, or because I know kickboxing or Muay Thai, or because I've fought in the cage, and I have a platform, in other words, not just like an online, but also just in the gym itself. Now I'm going to act like I know so much. I'm the expert of all things because I know how to teach you an armbar. Like, give me a fucking break, guy. I've had so many, I fired people before because of that, because they've had this, I know everything, but I ain't done nothing with my life other than just jujitsu. Like, give me a break, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad jujitsu saved your life. I'm glad like the combat sports world has been so impactful for you, and I'm glad you can share that with others. But stay in your lane, motherfucker. Don't act like you over here knowing shit. Don't tell a fucking prison guard how to be a prison guard. Don't tell a fucking accountant how to do numbers. You know what I mean? Don't,
Right.
Oh God, it drives me crazy. But you can absolutely turn off potential members and or current members by just simply having an instructor that just has the worst personality in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think teaching a martial arts, I know there's a lot of skilled people, but I think that you don't get to just be able to teach if you don't have the it factor. We've had blue belts teach for us for a long time, and it drives me crazy because the blue belts can be one or two ways. They can be very tainted, or they can be very understanding of what they don't know. You know what I mean? And there's a big stigma in the world of jiu-jitsu, and everybody knows about it, like how blue belts will, ain't worth a fuck. You know what I mean? It's funny, but full transparency. If you're a blue belt out there, congratulations. You've done more than what most people don't do, be honest with you. But we've had to rely on people helping out because of the class sizes and because of the schedule and just because of the lack of that we've had over the past. And we've had blue belts that teach classes, and, they taught what they knew, most of them. They taught basics, simple stuff, introductory classes, kids classes. They didn't go outside. Well, I had to reel them back. Most of them don't go outside of what they teach, but some of them do. You got to look, dude, you're not teaching brand new kids, double X guard or, K guard, right? And, but their personality was what really shined, right? Their personality was what really was real. And then we had teachers that were very technical, very good with what they did, rolled hard, and just it was like talking to a board. It was like impossible to get any kind of emotion or any kind of depth out of them unless they were talking about themselves, of course. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you could a subpar personality instructor can make or break your gym if they don't have a personality and they don't have a way to communicate.
Do you have to keep that same idea going through? I mean, from A to Z though. As soon as somebody walks through that front door, they've got to be greeted with a smile. They've got to be, made to feel that they're welcome, that they're noticed. Like, hey, come on in. It's got to be friendly and inviting, and that's the first thing. Kind of get their defenses down, so to speak, because hey, everything's gonna be okay. Let's have a conversation, and then it makes everything easier. It makes introductions with the coaches easier, which is something that should be done. I
100%.
feel before you even get into a class, come up and, hey, this is so and so. They're going to be trying your class tonight, and then usually goes. And I think that's something that we do very well here is once they've kind of left that front desk and gone through some of the formalities, when they're talking to the coach, our coaches are really good at making them feel comfortable, not just welcome but comfortable in that situation. And, hey, hey Mike, how you doing? Oh, have you done this before? No, really, first time. Okay, great. That's
Dude, I can tell you right now, every person that I've had the chance to introduce to one of our coaches that they took the class, signed up, and stayed with us.
Yeah.
Every time. That is a hack in itself. You have your front desk owner. I don't care who you are. Go walk them around to your gym. Walk them. I don't care how big your studio is or not. Show them where to put the shit. Show them where the bathroom is, walk them around, and introduce them to a instructor. You don't got to do the whole family reunion thing. But if you just go over here and be like, oh, Chet, nice to meet you, brother. Come on in. You're going to love Coach P, man. Let me introduce you. You're doing boxing? Cool. Coach P, this is Chet. He's so excited. Oh, my gosh. You don't know how much that makes that client, that member, feel so welcomed and a part of something. And that's truly like the conversation pusher between culture. But let's shift gears. You got the one experience that you have when they're like, oh yeah, oh, what are you doing here? And they make you feel awkward and uncomfortable. Then you got the overly expressive, fake ass, let me kiss your ass kind of person to get you to buy the geese, sign up and get the gloves and all that good shit. That will hinder,
puking all over.
Oh my gosh, that will hinder the business just as much.
Yeah.
I have multiple people that are members at our gym that will cross train at other gyms, and I'm not going to say any names, but they will sit there and tell me about how awkward the conversations were with the owner because they found out they were here. And all of a sudden, you could tell that they were just trying to convince them and soft poach them to come work for them. You know what I mean? And look, I get it.
And you could have had a conversation about anything else and still been genuine, but that's the route you took.
And I get it, man.
Whatever.
It is what it is. You know, that's how people act. You know what I mean? You know, they tend to get mad at me when I draw my sand in the line and make it known. But you know, whatever. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, when you're sitting here making shit so fucking awkward and overly nice and overly, you know, overdoing everything, the hospitality. Look, there's a level of hospitality, but I'm not going to bring you into my house and take you upstairs to my bedroom, right? Like as I'm giving you an introduction. If I don't know you or you're new to my house, there's ground rules to my house, right? The bathroom's downstairs. If you need to go smoke, you can go out back or vape. You know, here's where the kitchen is. Help yourself. What can I do for you? Yes, cool. Make yourself at home. Don't go upstairs.
Right.
Don't go upstairs. Upstairs is where my family lives. Upstairs is where my bathroom is. Upstairs is where my room is. We don't go upstairs, right? But you see gym owners kind of like, oh, come in. Shit, you want to sleep with my wife? Hell, go right ahead on. You can do whatever you want, right? And then when they sign you up, guess what happens? You're back in the corner. You're back in the corner. People know this shit. They understand fakeness. They understand when they're being sold to. And don't fucking overdo it with the niceness shit. Like just be a normal fucking human. Have you noticed how weird our people are in our industry?
Yes. Yes. Now, and this is coming from somebody who's been in ad sales. It's coming from somebody who's, I mean,
you're versatile.
I've done quite a few things, including, you know, the whole music thing. And, you know,
you've been around emos.
You think that's chock full? Shut up with the emo stuff. Jeez.
But you've been around. You've been around the block.
Yeah.
You've been around a lot of people.
Weirdos.
This is a weird industry that we're in.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's because you got fucking nerds that are learning how to hurt people. You know what I mean? And I'm going to say it like it is. I don't mean to be rude, but you know what I mean? Like my combat sports is a part of my identity. My identity is not combat sports, right? I love what it does for me in more ways than just staying in shape and beating up people or getting beat up. I love it. It's just a part of what I do, right? But man, if you want to see a weird experience, go to any local jiu-jitsu tournament. You will see the weirdest of the weirds, right? But that stuff transmutes into when they become business owners and gym owners. And when they have, you know, they're the leader and they're the people front and center. Look, we're not all going to be the same. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea myself. But at the same time, just simple communication and simple being just person to person, having a normal conversation, a normal experience will go so far. Just be your fucking self. Be authentic. Authenticity just goes so far. It travels amongst the worlds of worlds. People
and it goes
appreciate
both ways too, because if somebody is authentic and they're being them real self, the real person, right? And they're not trying to ham it up and play it up and, you know, come over here. Sometimes that unfortunately weeds people out the wrong way, if that makes sense. Because we've had people that, I mean, I remember a guy that came here a couple weeks ago for open mat, and he was a member somewhere else, and he was just saying how he didn't feel like he's particularly welcomed, wanted, and if he had questions, it was like they were dumb questions, and then he didn't want to ask more things because he felt like he was already getting shut down, and then not even having like good training partners and somebody that's newer. You should have somebody helping you with that. One of your coaches going, maybe, hey, you know, I've been watching what you do. You good matchup for this guy. Good size, good style. You know,
point.
Good level. Your personalities and that's just knowing your people. Like that would be a good mix. But you know, unfortunately, you know, this guy felt like he wasn't even particularly wanted there, and now was afraid to ask questions. And really loved what he was doing, but was kind of just, just not a good situation. And that sucks because that could totally turn him off from ever going anywhere, ever pursuing it at all.
Gosh, you said a mouthful right there. That is the kicker of it all. Like, I've told people, look, I have never held nobody hostage here. I have never, anybody that wants to leave my gym, as long as you have a normal conversation about it, which majority won't. Majority won't. I tell you what, gym owners, you're going to find yourself very isolated in this business. You got all the friends when you're on the mats, but when it comes to the ins and outs, what people are really thinking, how they really feel, you're going to be the last to know. I've had people that said, hey, I'm going to go over to the gym across town. I'm looking for a little bit more of jiu-jitsu. And I feel that they've got what I need. I hope there's no hard feelings. Absolutely not. Wish you well. Hope you get what you need. 100%. Right? Does it sting? Of course. Am I happy? Am I jumping up and down about it? Of course not. I don't want to lose anybody.
But you can appreciate the honesty and being upfront and not, the
tenfold.
The way some people operate.
And I wish them well.
Yeah.
Then you have other people that will lie and say, well, I don't have the money right now, or will lie. You won't even tell you, just end up leaving, right? Because they don't have the integrity to sit here and tell you, hey, look, thanks for everything, but I'm going to switch gyms, right? And I still don't talk bad about those people. I don't. When you're dealing with almost 400 members, right? 12 coaches, a staff of people, all kinds of shit, you don't have time to be worried about the people that do you wrong. It is what it is. Pick up and move on. Cool. Yeah. Wish you well, right? Yep. We've had gym falling outs. We've had all these things. It happens. It's a part of the culture, right? Does this mean that I can be best friends with people? No. But does this mean, do I want any ill will, or do I want to wish them wrong? No. It's like, it is what it is. Cool. Your integrity spoke for itself. You behaved the way that you behaved, and you ended this relationship the way you ended it. Not me. I did my due diligence, right? But I will never hold anybody hostage. I will never get mad at anybody that leaves. I will never get mad at people that don't want, because why? Because what you said. Because if I taint that experience for that member, they may never do combat sports again.
Yeah. And like this poor guy, he wasn't even mad about it. He wasn't even like, he was
unaware.
He was kind of upset but he didn't know that that's what he was getting. Yeah. Again, it was just like he wasn't trashing anybody. Wasn't really, it wasn't mean, you know what I mean? He's just like kind of lost.
Yeah. Well, he was unaware. He was unaware of what next level service is. Right. And next level, you know what I mean? Now, there's also some give and takes there, right? And I've made this mistake many times where, and this kind of goes into the overly nice thing, not necessarily, but a little bit. You have a member come in, he's a white belt or is brand new, and the coach will spend so much time getting that white belt over the hump, right? Where a lot of times you neglect the people that have been there for, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, right? So there's a fine line and a balance there of helping that white belt, giving a good service, giving a good, attention to, but also making sure that you're really giving the people that have been there and supported you and showed up the attention that they make. And I've made that mistake myself. Yep. I know I'm not the only one out there. But that kind of falls into line with being so overly nice and being so overly this and overly that. We want to make sure that we are.
But it's coming from a genuine place,
correct,
versus over the top, campy. Hey,
or I'm giving this brand new person like so much of my time. Or how many times you've seen the coaches do that for an attractive female, right? We've gotten rid of coaches for that reason too, because you got an attractive female come in and all of a sudden they're over here basically giving a private lesson to them, and the whole class is like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Like, nah, buddy, I think your time here at SBY is expired. Sorry.
Right.
What happened? Oh, nothing. We just heard complaints. Right. But like, dude, it's like, no, actually, I'm very upfront and transparent. But yeah, it's like, dude, like, you got to find that balance where you're still delivering a genuine customer service based experience for the new person, still explaining things, but you can't spend a lot of time with them because they got to earn their right to sit at the table. Right. When we sign up our dues, right? When you sign up to our gym, there is a business agreement. There is a business agreement stating that you're going to stick here for a year. You're going to get charged your dues. We're going to show up on time. You're going to show up on time. We're going to give you a service. We're going to keep you safe. You're going to keep yourself safe. You're going to, practice and learn. And that's where that business, that handshake stops. And people think that people are supposed to be loyal to your gym, right? Well, you're not supposed to be loyal to me if we just have a simple business agreement handshake. I don't expect loyalty from my people, right? Would it be nice? Of course. But I don't expect you to be loyal to me simply because you sign up to my gym and you wear a flag. That's not how this works, buddy. I expect you to be loyal to me if I've spent extra time with you. If I've went to tournaments or competitions and not been paid and did it out of my time and my personal, if I've taken time after class, that's when I expect loyalty, because that's your give and take there. Unfortunately, that's not always received well, and that stings even more than anything else when people leave. But the reality of it is I'm not loyal to you no more than you're loyal to me when you sign that piece of paper. I'm delivering a service, you're paying for it, right? Once you go with the extra stuff, the stuff on top, that's when you need to start thinking about loyalty. When you go to war together, that's when you start needing to think about loyalty. And loyalty doesn't just come, we've talked about this, loyalty just doesn't come with saying, hey, I'm going to stick with you and go with you in this
Right.
gym. Loyalty says like, hey, I got a major problem with how you're leading, and I need to talk to you about it because it's bothering me and I'm starting to feel like a certain way. So can we air this out real quick before I make any hasty decisions or you make any hasty decisions, and make sure that we're still on the same page? And then if that corrects it, great. If it doesn't correct it, then you need to think about other conversations and other alternative measures.
And one of the things I think that we do well, SBY, is that communication part of it, where we're interacting. Say, for example, the kids classes, and you've got a handful of parents. Some drop the kids off, they run upstairs, they're done, they run back down. But we do have quite a few parents that hang out and they watch, and we interact with them while they're here and talk to them. So anything that you don't let things build up or fester. It's an opportunity for them to bring things up if they have questions or some kind of an issue. Most of it's not that. Most of it's just being real and just having normal conversations. But what that does is it makes them more open to understanding and receiving the things that we do here, and then on our end, the same way we know they can come to us. They're more open to talk to us. Yeah. Versus it's got to be a phone call or an email. It's like, hey, if you have a second after class,
keeping that door open.
I'm not saying it's not always negative stuff. It's just, but in general, there's that.
Well, we learn from our members. We learn from our parents. The more that we keep that line of communication open, like you're talking about, the more we can course correct and figure out how to do things differently, do things better. Some people go to other gyms and travel, and they say, hey, guess what we saw at this gym? This works. Oh, shit, that's a great idea. Yeah. Let me bring that in our gym. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens. Another thing, though, just as much as that's a good thing, it also could bite you in the ass, because I'll tell you what, I've had more issues with your competitive parents than anybody else. The kids that, they're very competitors, and I'm not saying all of them, you know what I mean? So if you find this offensive and you've been to our gym, then it was probably you, right? I'm not saying all, I'm just saying I found more issues with the parents that had their kids in competition, because a lot of them think they know what's best for their kid. Right. In this, and they lose sight of why they're here. See, I'm not against competitors. I'm not against competition by no means. Some gyms base their curriculum and base their progress on competitions. But what I am here for is, what is it? What is it for? What are we competing for? Right? Because there's not a Super Bowl, right? There's always a Worlds every year. There's always a Pan Am's every year. There's always all these great big competitions every year, and we continuously want to see improve to who's the best. But when it comes to your local tournaments, there's one every weekend. Yeah. There's one every weekend. The competition is a great thing for character building, and if you do have a serious competitor, then that doesn't mean you disrupt the culture of the gym that you're at and the gym circumvents around you. And if anything, for me, my serious competitors, whether it's BJJ, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, you have to give back more to the gym. You have to give back more to the people in the gym, not just the people that your friends and your training partners. I'm talking about to the casuals, to the people that are keeping your fucking lights on, that are helping pay for my time and my coach's time to go across state, country, wherever to help compete. Because there's not a contract between most gyms don't have contracts between the fighters or the competitors and the coaches. Right. So they'll have a contract with the management. They'll have a contract with the promotion. They'll have a contract with sponsors. They'll have a contract with all these different people but your coach. How does that work? And then they'll be like, well, we'll pay you 20% of the purse for professionals, or 10% or 15%, whatever your cut is, right? Okay, cool. Well, and I know that there's other gyms that have done a way better job than what we have. Honestly, that's a place we haven't even ventured off in yet in the deep professional world because we've been so new. We're only technically 6 years old. But at the end of the day, it's funny how you can have contracts with all these groups and all these organizations except for your gym and your coach. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when that
Absolutely.
happens, I push my guys and gals to sit here and give back to the gym. Make sure you're pouring into this gym like they poured into you, because those casuals are buying your fucking tickets to your fights. Those casuals are buying that online subscription to watch your fights. They're buying
and
your
let's be honest
t-shirts.
too, when it comes to that, I mean, especially like it can be everybody in general, but like a lot of the kids especially, and they look at these guys and girls like they are in the UFC. You know what I mean?
They do.
They go to stellar fights in their cage side, and it's
They're
like
amazed.
it's just like, I mean, the biggest shit for them like ever.
Yep.
Other than probably waiting for Christmas to come around. It's like, and you can see it on their faces, and they're like, but I get to go and coach when he was and then they get to see him on Monday, and it's like, like the stardom, the fandom kind of thing. They're kind of starstruck. And it's cool. It's really it's cool.
And it's awesome watching it. But the kids competitors are they can really hurt your gym.
Oh, yeah.
The parents,
Well,
the kids, the competitors, the children, the youth competitors' parents are the ones that will create more drama.
And look, you talk to anybody, like whether it's travel, lacrosse, football, soccer, that same thing runs true. I think it's like, I don't know, is it a personality type or what is it? I don't know, but that same stuff.
It's all across the board.
Yeah.
It's all across the board.
Yeah.
Well, the last thing that I think is probably the most important thing out of it all, and nobody wants to have this conversation because, everybody's scared to have this conversation when it comes to combat sports, is how much you're charging. Right? Don't sit here and market that you've got the best, or you've got the most black belts, or you got the most champions, or you got the most this and most that, and charge fucking white belt prices. Right? Like, that is the biggest thing that's crazy to me in our industry. You can look across the board at combat sports and what they charge, and it is not consistent at all. It is very inconsistent when it comes to how much people charge, what they charge for, why they charge, and so forth. Like for us, I make all of our coaches here, they get personal trained certified, right?
Yep.
They're insured because they're all subcontractors. I pay them. I pay all my coaches. I've always paid my coaches. I've always made that a thing. I don't do your free memberships. We have like a B team squad or like a couple guys that are helping out. Well, that's one thing, but I always pay my coaches. I just think that they're here. The other side of it is, you spend all these years in combat sports, bumps, bruises, knowledge, mats, hours, so on and so forth, to become a professor or to become, an expert, and yet you're charging novice prices because what you did is you picked up the phone when you opened your gym and you called this combat sports and this martial arts place and this place and that place, and you asked what the going rate is, and you were like, okay, well, this place is charging up here and this place is charging down here, so we want to get members, let's go right in the middle, which I think is probably the most foolish way to establish your value. That is probably, in my opinion, the worst way to sit here and do any kind of market area research to establish your value, because what you're doing, one second, what you're doing is you're saying that I'm no better than the worst person in business, because not all gym owners and martial artists are business people.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yep.
There's a difference. And, again, years in advertising, it's like you have that conversation all the time. It's like, just because you're a master mechanic and you're one of the best in this area doesn't mean you know how to run the business, or doesn't mean you know anything about how to market the business. And the same thing's true, again, no matter what the industry is. You could be the best chef in the world, but if you can't run it like a business, or you don't know how to market it, then you might as well just have 5 people that are you invite to your house and cook for them. You know what I mean? And they'll get some of the best food they've ever had in their life. But at the same time, it's not, and that's like, you can be the best instructor, martial arts, whatever it is, jiu-jitsu, doesn't matter. And you can be a great coach, great instructor, but if you don't have the other part of it, then, it's okay if that's where you want to be. Or maybe find somebody who is doing it better and go there and just be an instructor.
Yeah. Well, number 2 will always make more money than number 1. Ask them.
Yeah.
Ask them.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that started their own businesses, and they said that I made more money as a number 2 than I did when I started my own business. You know, I saw something. It's funny when you start your own business, you trade in your 40-hour-a-week job for 80. It's like, and say you have more time.
That's great. I can work any 80 hours I want.
And what's wild is that when I did my market area research, I found out what the highest guy was and charged that, because that's where my value is. My value is the highest. Why am I going to go and charge less because everyone else is worried about getting people in? Have faith in your product. Have faith in your business. Have faith in what you can do. If it doesn't work and you're struggling to get members that bad, and you've already looked at all of the reasons why, lower your prices. You can always lower them, right? It's harder to up your prices than it's to lower them, right? But I mean, we've upped our prices, I think, 5 times in the course of 6 years, because we've grown and added and gave more value and delivered on so many fronts. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I don't care what the people over here are charging or what people
But that's
over
the
there
thing.
are
If you
charging.
deliver that value and continue to do it, and you try not to go backwards too much ever, and you're always improving, then people realize that too. So, you know, even though it is, like I said, not everybody's signing up every day for combat sports. It's not like they're going to buy a cheeseburger, but you know, they're going to realize the value, and those are the people that end up staying longer.
Yeah,
honestly, because when people are just shopping price, and again, it doesn't matter what it is, they usually don't stay around very long, or some huge headache comes along with it. And that's not bashing, because I mean, because it is a factor. You know, money's a factor, income's a factor. They've got other bills, so you know, of course, people are going to look at price, but it's that whole price and value thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, and a lot of times you can figure out how to make that happen if you want that better service, that better value.
And I can tell you this from experience: the people that are price shopping, you don't want them anyway. I get that people have a budget, but dude, if you're only looking at what we charge and not what we do, we're probably not the place for you.
Right.
So charge more, gym owners. But that'll do it. I mean, this is a little bit shorter than normal. I think we covered a lot of things. We're going to keep delivering more content and more value on these editions with Chet and I, so that we can help you gym owners and help you other people, you know, just add more to your club, add more value, add more people, add more members, add more money. Just add more opportunity to change lives and change your own life. Because again, you're the one that's taking all the risk as the gym owner, as the business owner. You're the one that's going out here and doing what you got to do to feed your family, putting in the hours, missing breakfast, mixing lunches, missing dinners, missing all the things that you want to miss with your families, because you believe in yourself and your product. So we're going to continue to try to help you here at Champ Talk on these episodes and deliver. But that'll wrap us up again. I'm glad Chet was back in the studio again. Guys, again, if you get value from this or know anybody that would, please share this, pass it along, like and subscribe to our channels, any platform, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Give us a review. We love you guys. What are you doing today to become a champion?